A list of U.S. specialized or unique museums by U.S. state. Chapter 1. Specialized or unique museums by U.S. state. Arizona Musical Instrument Museum. Phoenix, AZ. California Museum of Teaching and Learning. Fullerton, CA. Museum of Tolerance. Los Angeles, CA. The Grammy Museum. Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. Rancho Obi-Wan, Inc. Petaluma, CA. Center for Social Justice and Civil Liberties. Riverside, CA. Comic-Con Museum. San Diego, CA. Trulson Marmor Museum of the Eye. San Francisco, CA. San Francisco Maritime National Historical Park. Los Angeles Maritime Museum. San Pedro, CA. Couture Pattern Museum. Santa Barbara, CA. Robert Louis Stevenson Museum. St. Helena, CA. Colorado. Avenir Museum of Design and Merchandising, Colorado State University. Fort Collins, CO. Golden Oldie Cyclery and Sustainability Museum. Golden, CO. National Mining Hall of Fame and Museum. Leadville, CO. Connecticut. The Katharine Hepburn Museum. Old Saybrook, CT. District of Columbia. O Street Museum. Washington, D.C. National Law Enforcement Memorial and Museum. George Washington University Museum and the Textile Museum. Planet Word/the Museum of Language Arts. Florida. World AIDS Museum and Educational Center. Fort Lauderdale, FL. Mother Teresa Museum. Immokalee, FL. Georgia. Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum. Carrollton, GA. Computer Museum of America. Roswell, GA. Vidalia Onion Museum. Vidalia, GA. Iowa. National Banknote Museum and Library. Okoboji, IA. Illinois. Aurora Regional Fire Museum. Aurora, IL. Chicago Maritime Museum. Chicago, IL. Halim Time and Glass Museum. Evanston, IL. Wood Library Museum of Anesthesiology. Schaumburg, IL. Indiana. Great American Songbook Foundation. Carmel, IN. Rhythm. Discovery Center. Indianapolis, IN. Kansas. Clendening History of Medicine Museum. Kansas City, KS. Kentucky. Kentucky Derby Museum. Louisville, KY. Massachusetts. New England Quilt Museum. Lowell, MA. Chatham Marconi Maritime Center. North Chatham, MA. Maryland. The Makeup Museum. Baltimore, MD. Michigan. Kelsey Museum of Archaeology. Ann Arbor, MI. Minnesota. Spam Museum. Austin, MN. Goldstein Museum of Design, University of Minnesota. St. Paul, MN. Missouri. The National Museum of Toys and Miniatures. Kansas City, MO. Museum of Osteopathic Medicine. Kirksville, MO. Glore Psychiatric Museum. St. Joseph, MO. National Blues Museum. St. Louis, MO. North Carolina. International Civil Rights Center and Museum. Greensboro, NC. The Earl Scruggs Center. Shelby, NC. Nebraska. International Quilt Museum. Lincoln, NE. New Mexico. Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum. Albuquerque, NM. Nevada. Rita Deanan Abbey Museum. Las Vegas, NV. New York. The People's Museum. Astoria, New York. Museum at Fit. New York, New York. American Numismatic Society. The Noel Shoe Museum. Ohio. Historic Costume and Textiles Collection, Ohio State University. Columbus, Oklahoma. Woody Guthrie Center. Tulsa, OK. Bob Dylan Center. Oregon. Crater Lake National Park Museum and Archive. Crater Lake, or Rice Northwest Museum of Rocks and Minerals. Hillsboro, or Museum of the Peace Corps Experience. Oregon City, or Pennsylvania. National Watch and Clock Museum. Columbia, PA. Martin Guitar Museum. Nazareth, PA. The Frank Fox and Kenneth F. Wawalski Polish Poster Collections, Drexel Collections. Philadelphia, PA. Rhode Island. The Sailing Museum, National Sailing Hall of Fame. Newport, RI. South Dakota. National Music Museum. Vermilion, SD. Tennessee. Stax Museum of American Soul Music. Memphis, TN. Texas. Abilene Christian University Museum. Abilene, TX. Eternal Gandhi Museum Houston. Houston, TX. Buddy Holly Center. Lubbock, TX. Vermont. Tasha Tudor Society. Brattleboro, VT. Washington. Pacific Northwest Quilt and Fiber Arts Museum. La Conner, WA. Wisconsin. Kelch Aviation Museum. Broadhead, WI. National Bobblehead Hall of Fame and Museum. Milwaukee, WI. Hamilton Woodtype and Printing Museum. Two Rivers, WI. Chapter 2. A list of some special/unique museum websites. MIM.org. Motel.org. Museumoftolerance.com. GrammyMuseum.org. AcademyMuseum.org/en. RanchoOBE1.org. SocialJustice.rccd.edu. AAO.org/museum. NPS.gov/safar. LawMaritimeMuseum.org. CouturePatternMuseum.com. StevensonMuseum.org. Avenir.coloradostate.edu. GoldenOldie.org. MiningHallOfFame.org. KatherineHepburnTheater.org/about/museum. OMuseum.org. LawEnforcementMuseum.org. Museum.gwu.edu. PlanetWordMuseum.org. WorldAIDSMuseum.org. MotherTeresaProject.org/museum. Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum.org. ComputerMuseumOfAmerica.org. Visit vidaliaga.com. TheHigginsMuseum.org/notes.htm. Aurora Regional Fire Museum.org. Chicago Maritime Museum.org. HollyMuseum.org. McLeanCollection.com. WoodLibraryMuseum.org. TheSongbook.org. RhythmDiscoveryCenter.org. comc.edu/school-of-medicine/academics/history-of-medicine/museum.html. derbymuseum.org. neqm.org. chathammarconi.org. makeupmuseum.org. lsa.umich.edu/kelsey. spam.com/museum. goldstein.design.umn.edu. toyandminiaturemuseum.org. atsu.edu/museum-of-osteopathic-medicine. stjosephmuseum.org/museum/glore. nationalbluesmuseum.org. sitinmovement.org. earlskrugcenter.org. internationalquiltmuseum.org. cabq.gov/balloon. ritadeananabimuseum.org. thepeoplesmuseum.org. fitenique.edu/museum. numismatics.org. noelshomemuseum.org, costume.osu.edu, woodyguthriecenter.org, bobdylancenter.com, ricenorthwestmuseum.org, museumofthepeacecorps.experience.org, nacc.org, martinguhr.com, drexel.edu/westfall/academics/undergraduate/graphic-design/Polish poster collections, thsalingmuseum.org, nmmusd.org, staxmuseum.com, egmh.org, buddyhollycenter.org, tashatudor-society.org, qfmuseum.org, kelchmuseum.org, bobbleheadhall.com, woodtype.org. Chapter 3. Visitor Centers/Interpretive Centers. Some big visitor centers/interpretive centers by state. District of Columbia. Office of Visitor Services, Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C. si.edu/visit. Maryland. Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area. Frederick, M.D. Visit frederick.org. Gateway to NOAA Museum. Silver Spring, M.D. Pennsylvania. John James Audubon Center at Mill Grove. Norristown, PA. johnjames.audubon.org. Texas. The Economy in Action. Dallas, TX. dallasfed.org/visit. Washington. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Discovery Center. Seattle, WA. discovergates.org.